Warning, the following video is opinionated and contains hypothetical NASCAR points formats. The drivers would have raced differently under a different point system. Viewer discretion is advised.
There have been multiple reports that the NASCAR Playoff Committee is meeting at some point this week and finalizing a new championship points format for 2026. So, what if I was on the Playoff Committee? In this video, I'm going to talk about why NASCAR needs to go back to the 2011 to 2013 chase format, and why the seeding was the main issue with that format, which has now been solved thanks to stage racing and playoff points. I want to preface this video by saying I'm on the team of full season points. I think that is never going to happen again. We're at the point now where TV is paying so much money. I think at this point in time we are never going to go back to a full season long points format, which is why I think the middle ground is the revitalized chase format thanks to playoff points. Also, if this actually did happen, I understand that they would stick with the name NASCAR Playoffs. Just for clarity, I'm going to be calling it the Chase format in this video. There's two drivers in the Chase that would be named Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe. No way they're going to open up that mess. It's going to stay the name NASCAR Playoffs. So the 2013 NASCAR Chase format was the top 10 drivers in points, regardless if you had won a race or not, and then two wildcard positions for drivers with the most wins between 10th and 20th in the point standings. That equaled 12 drivers. We know how much NASCAR loves the win and you're in concept, so in this video, any driver below 10th in points will be eligible for the wildcard positions. So first things first, I wanted to take a look back at the 2013 chase for the Sprint Cup. If this graphic looks a little bit weird, it's because I'm not opening up that can of Spingate. In my hypothetical world, we're going to pretend that caution never came out. Ryan Newman won that race and he made it in as the second wildcard. As you can see here, Matt Kenseth with a 5-win regular season only had a 3-point lead over second place driver Jimmy Johnson and only a 15-point lead over the driver in last place here. In my opinion, this is pretty ridiculous. Nothing was awarded for the regular season positioning, wins, or point standings. Where we have it right now is a great compromise. The top 10 in points get bonus playoff points. Obviously, the addition of stage points and playoff points for winning races would add to this total. There needs to be some sort of reward for having a good regular season that doesn't get immediately evaporated when you start the chase and/or playoffs. For this next part of the video, I'm going to look at all of the seasons ran in NASCAR's next-gen car from 2022 up until today, put on this chase format, and see how the championship battles would have gone and who would have been the champions. Starting things off with 2022, it would have been a pretty interesting battle going into the regular season finale for the wildcard positions. Both Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin had 2 wins, so they would have immediately leapfrogged guys like Alex Bowman and Daniel Suarez and gotten those 2 wildcard positions, but Bowman and Suarez were both ahead of them in points, so if they could have managed to win the regular season finale, they would have taken one of those positions from them. Austin Dillon ended up winning the regular season finale, which had nothing to do with the wildcard banner since he was below these guys in points and hadn't won a race yet, so these were the 12 drivers competing for the 2022 NASCAR Chase. As you can see right away, Chase Elliott at 2040 points, 33-point lead over the last driver on this grid. This is a much better gap than what Matt Kenseth had back in 2013. In fact, he had a 15-position lead over Joey Logano, which is the distance that Matt Kenseth had from 1st till 12th on his grid, rewarding Chase Elliott for winning the regular season championship on top of his multiple race wins and stage wins up to that point in 2022. Fast forwarding a little bit here and heading into the season finale, there would have been a 12-point gap between 1st and 2nd in the championship standings. Denny Hamlin at 2350 points, William Byron at 2338. Guys like Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, Christopher Bell had a mathematical chance of winning the championship, but they would have needed a lot to go their way. We're going to focus on the 11 car and the 24 car having a great battle in the season finale at Phoenix. In Stage 1, William Byron earned 4 stage points for finishing in 7th, Denny Hamlin, nothing. Same exact thing in Stage 2, William Byron with another 7th place for 4 points, Hamlin not earning any stage points. That means going into Stage 3, William Byron was only 4 points back on Denny Hamlin, so 4 positions on the track would have decided the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series champion. William Byron did go on to finish ahead of Denny Hamlin on the track, but only by 2 positions, his 6th place to Hamlin's 8th. Denny Hamlin would have held on and won his first career NASCAR Cup Series championship in the first year of NASCAR's next-gen car. Hamlin had an unreal final 10 races, only 1 finish outside of the top 10. That was a 13th place at the Charlotte Roval. Very consistent with 5 top 5s and 9 top 10s. Alright, well remember that graphic that I showed at the start of this video that these guys would have raced a little bit differently? Well, this is a prime example right here. 6th place through 12th place in points were only separated by 14 points. 4 points separated 6th through 10th. These guys would have raced totally different if they knew they were fighting to stay inside the top 10 in points rather than being already locked in like some of the guys were in this situation. The main example would be Ryan Blaney. He wrecked out very early in this race, only scoring 1 point, and would end up missing the 2023 chase despite the fact that he won the playoffs in real life. Chris Buescher would win this race for his 3rd win of the season. Joey Logano and Tyler Reddick would be the 2 wildcard drivers moving on into the chase, thanks to their wins and being the top 2 drivers in points. Reddick 5 points ahead of Ryan Blaney for that final playoff position. As we take a look at what the points reset for the 2023 chase would have looked like, it would have been a tie for the lead between Martin Truex Jr., the regular season champion, and William Byron, both at 2036, 11 points up on Denny Hamlin, 32 points up on Kevin Harvick, the final driver seeded in the 2023 chase. It wouldn't be as exciting of a battle going into the 2023 season finale. William Byron with a 23-point lead up on his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Kyle Larson. But when you take a look at that win column, Byron the most wins on the season, 2 ahead of Kyle Larson. Byron himself had a very strong chase, only 2 finishes outside of the top 10, a 15th at Kansas and a 13th at Martinsville. 6 top 5 finishes in those 10 races, 2 more inside the top 10 as well there. He extended that lead, finishing 29 points up on Kyle Larson, but there was still some movement inside the top 5. Denny Hamlin jumping Christopher Bell. The RFK teammates also swapping for 6th position. For those curious, the real-life 2023 champion Ryan Blaney would have finished 3rd in this format, 1 point ahead of Denny Hamlin at 2380. Still 51 points behind the champion William Byron, though, just shows how good of a chase William Byron had. Alright, last year, 2024, it also would have been a pretty interesting wildcard battle. Martin Truex Jr., Ty Gibbs, and Chris Buescher, none of those guys had a win, so they needed to make sure they were inside the top 10 in points. Buescher was less than 20 points back on Ty Gibbs, who was 20 points back on Martin Truex Jr. Alex Bowman and Joey Logano, 12th and 15th in points, held the 2 wildcard positions. Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, and Harrison Burton were all winners, so if they were able to win the regular season finale at Darlington, they could have leapfrogged Bowman or Logano. Suarez, who was 59 points back on Logano, was just a little bit too far that he wouldn't have been able to point his way in even if he had won both stages and finished in 2nd. Ty Gibbs ended up jumping Martin Truex Jr. for 9th, Truex getting the last position in the chase over Chris Buescher by just 6 points, so it would have been a really good battle towards the end of Darlington to see if Buescher could have made up those points. Alex Bowman and Joey Logano held on to their 2 positions as wildcard winners. Chase Briscoe, the winner at Darlington, would not have won his way in since he was below Joey Logano in the points by about 45. Also, how do you think they would have ruled Austin Dillon's Richmond fiasco if that wasn't a guaranteed chase or playoff position, right? He would have needed to win a 2nd race to upset some of these other guys in the wildcard battle. Do you think they would have let it count for points? How do you think they would have ruled that? As we got to the chase reset, Kyle Larson would reset as the points leader at 2040 points, 8 points up on 2nd place William Byron, but that would quickly drop to 25 points back for 6th place Denny Hamlin. Ty Gibbs and Martin Truex Jr. came in tied, lowest on the grid at 2004 points, 36 back on Kyle Larson. And you take a look at the guys Keselowski on back, they would pretty much need Larson to have 1 bad race to catch up to him in points here. That's pretty fair, right? If you stack these playoff points from winning and your regular season point standing, you deserve to have that buffer going into the final 10 races. Heading into the championship finale, we were once again in for a pretty good battle. Christopher Bell, William Byron only separated by 1 point on the top of the standings here, 2367 versus 2366. Both guys with 3 wins on the season. The season wins leader Kyle Larson was 3rd in points, 36 back, so technically could get it if the top 2 guys both ran into trouble. Again, we are going to focus on the championship battle between Christopher Bell and William Byron, who is looking to go 2 in a row. Both of these guys scoring a lot of stage points in this race. Christopher Bell scoring 8 stage points for finishing in 3rd. William Byron 7 stage points for finishing in 4th. Stage 2, Christopher Bell finishing in 2nd, 9 points. William Byron again finishing in 4th, getting 7 stage points. That meant entering stage 3, Christopher Bell actually extended his points lead from 1 to 4, up 2384 to 2380. Much like in 2022, William Byron finished 2 positions ahead of the guy he was fighting for the championship, this time Christopher Bell instead of Denny Hamlin. Nonetheless, though, that was not enough. Christopher Bell holding on by 2 points over William Byron to win his first NASCAR Cup Series championship. Not a whole lot of movement within the top 10 for this one. Joey Logano, who actually won this race, jumping Alex Bowman in points, as did Denny Hamlin. Bowman going -2, dropping from 6th to 8th position. Alright, so how would have things looked for 2025? Well, let's take a look at what the 2025 wildcard battle would have looked like. This one jumps right out at you. Shane Van Gisbergen, with his 4 wins in the regular season on the 4 road courses, he was locked into a position no matter what happened here. The real battle would have been between 10th, 11th, 12th, and 14th. Chris Buescher was 14 points back on Bubba Wallace. However, he did not have a win, so he needed to get himself inside the top 10 in points. If he was able to jump Bubba Wallace, though, if Bubba Wallace stayed ahead of Joey Logano, he would get the second wildcard position. I kind of buried the lead there. Chris Buescher did do that, jumping Bubba Wallace for 10th in points, getting the final position in on points. So with that, Bubba Wallace took the second wildcard spot away from Joey Logano, who he finished 1 point ahead of in the regular season. Ross Chastain also would have been 10 points back in this situation. Again, if this was the situation in real life, these guys might have thrown different strategy calls out there. This isn't one for one, just showing how it could have looked if it happened. So here is how we would have reset for the 2025 chase, once again having a lead at the top of the standings. William Byron, Kyle Larson both at 2032. The top 6 pretty close in this one, but it falls off once you get to Chase Elliott and back there. Chris Buescher, thanks to his penalty earlier in the year, would have restarted with -5 playoff points. That would have put him at 1995, 37 back on William Byron. So that penalty would have had pretty serious ramifications, would have started in a big hole to the points leaders. And here's how things would be looking 3 races into the 2025 chase. Chase Briscoe leading this one, 6 points up on second place Ryan Blaney. The guys towards the top of the win chart this year, Denny Hamlin 5 wins, Christopher Bell 4 wins. Hamlin 3rd place, 16th back. Christopher Bell 4th place, 28 back, so both pretty close here. Bell would be tied with William Byron, but would have the tiebreaker thanks to those wins. All the way down to Chris Buescher, who is 58 points back. Theoretically, one good race could bring them right back up into the championship battle, so would be looking pretty competitive here. And again, you got a good storyline here, right? Chase Briscoe, his first year at JGR. A couple other Joe Gibbs teammates who have won championships under this chase format. Ryan Blaney, who didn't even make the chase in 2023. There are still storylines that could be followed through the remainder of the season. Alright, so I want to step back and take a look at the drivers who would have made the playoffs in real life but missed it under this 12-driver chase format. Part of the reason why I want to go back to this, I think that 16 drivers is way too many in the playoffs. I mean, who's really missing, right? You get the Joe Gibbs cars, you get the Hendrick cars, you get the Penske cars, and then 1 or 2 other stragglers from different teams, and you have 16. If you knock this down to 12, there's going to be some pretty good cars missing each year, which I think just drives up competition even more. So the 5 playoff drivers from 2022 who would have missed under this format: Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman, and Daniel Suarez. So how did their seasons work out for them? Cindric was a round of 12 exit, Dillon round of 16 exit, Chase Briscoe a strong run into the round of 8, Alex Bowman round of 12 exit. I should note here he did not run the rest of the round of 12 due to an injury, and Daniel Suarez, who exited in the round of 12. From the time the points reset with 10 races left, where did they finish in the standings? Well, Austin Cindric finished in 12th, Austin Dillon in 11th, Chase Briscoe in 9th, Alex Bowman in 16th, and Daniel Suarez in 10th. So none of these guys going on a real deep championship run or being top competitors in the final 10 races. Most of the guys who missed under the chase format were the guys that everyone kind of had circled in as round of 16, round of 12 exits in real life anyways. I think it just helps eliminate some of the fat cutting that you do in the first round of the playoffs. In 2023, the missers would have been Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, Michael McDowell, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. This one is the obvious underlier in this entire video. Of course, Ryan Blaney going on to win the championship in the 2023 season. Bubba Wallace, a round of 12 exit. Both McDowell and Stenhouse eliminated in the round of 16. In the final 10 races, Blaney would have finished 3rd in the standings, Bubba Wallace in 10th, McDowell 15th, and Stenhouse 16th. So again, a couple guys here made the playoffs in real life, didn't really have a chance at competing for the championship anyways. The 4 drivers from 2024, Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, Harrison Burton, and Daniel Suarez. Cindric, Briscoe, and Suarez all round of 12 exits, Harrison Burton a round of 16 exit. None of these guys would have cracked the top 10 in points. Cindric in 11th, Suarez in 12th, Briscoe in 14th, and Harrison Burton in 16th. And this season, 2025, the 5 drivers that made the playoffs but did not make it in this chase format. We'll start with the 2 drivers already eliminated from the playoffs, Austin Dillon, Josh Berry, both round of 16 exits. The other 3 drivers, where were they among the 2025 playoff drivers? Logano 9th in points, Chastain 10th in points, and Cindric 12th in points. So all guys who could go out in the round of 12 here. Of these 18 drivers, only 2 of them made it outside of the round of 12. That was, of course, Ryan Blaney's championship in 2023 and Chase Briscoe's run to the round of 8 in 2022. 6 of the 18 were eliminated right away in the round of 16, and only 2 drivers finished better than 10th in the reset points that the other guys who don't make the Final Four go into. Briscoe in 2022 with a 9th place, and then Blaney in 2023 would have finished 3rd. So again, are the drivers that aren't making this format really championship contenders? Obviously, Brian Blaney is the outlier, but everyone else are guys that you didn't really think were going to go on a deep playoff run anyways. I want to give a little bit more context here just so it doesn't look like I'm cherry picking stats. I want to take a look at the 3 real-life champions and the 3 champions of this chase format. Take a look where they would have finished in the other format, and then where they would have finished in the season-long points format, just to give a little bit more context to season-long performance. Joey Logano, the 2022 champion, would have finished 3rd in the chase format, also would have finished 3rd in the season-long points format. That's a pretty legit champion right there, a guy who would have finished top 3 across multiple points formats. 2023, of course, Ryan Blaney, we've mentioned this 7 times now. He missed the 2023 chase. He would have finished 6th in the regular season point standings though, again showing how close that battle was going into the regular season finale. And last year, 2024, Joey Logano would have finished 7th in the chase format, 12th in the regular season points format. In 2022, Denny Hamlin won the chase format. He finished 5th in the real-life championship format, 9th in the season-long points format. As mentioned, he had a wicked final 10 races, only finishing outside of the top 10 once. It took the 11 team a little bit to click with the new next-gen car, but once they hit it towards the tail end of 2022, they've been one of the best in the series, as we've talked about. 5 wins this year for the 11 car. William Byron, the 2023 chase champion, made the Final Four in real life in 2023, finishing in 3rd. He would have finished 1st in the season-long points format. And last year, 2024, Christopher Bell, winner in the chase format. He finished 5th in the 2024 playoff standings. Got dealt a bad hand there at Martinsville, finished 2nd at Las Vegas and 4th at Homestead, the other races in the round of 8 there, and then had a top 5 run at the season finale at Phoenix. He would have finished 2nd in the season-long points format. I think the rumor right now is that they're going to continue the elimination format but extend the final round to 3 or 4 races. Not sure how many drivers that looks like. I still think this is better than the winner-take-all race at Phoenix, because it doesn't even feel like it's a winner-take-all race anymore. That caution comes out with 40 laps to go. It's whoever wins the race off pit road and has the better restart and can hold the other guys off, right? I think even having 3 or 4 races, again, depends on what tracks they put in there. If it's like a drafting style track and a road course, it's still going to be really jumbled up. Having 3 or 4 races, though, will definitely legitimize the championship a little bit more. Nonetheless, if we have to have a playoff format, my vote is on the chase format that I talked about in this video. Thanks so much for watching.